Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart, and as you can see, I'm getting ready for Valentine's Day. I'm so excited to share the recipes with you for this special occasion coming up in just a week or so. And then I'm going to introduce you to a very special guest. Haleigh Newman is our Director of Education for our Children's Cooking Camp and all of our educational programs we do throughout the year. So you're going to meet her. She is also our Director of Housing for the hospitality part of our company, so she manages all of that. And then she's our cookbook director. So she's quite a busy girl, but you're gonna meet her today and we're gonna have a lot of fun together. So we're gonna do 3 recipes today that the children absolutely love to make with us when they come to camp. We're gonna start with a pink sugar cookie bar. It is so moist, beautiful frosting, lots of great decoration, and you can actually twist it for other holidays. Then we're going to do a cherry tomato salad skewer. This will get those children to eat your vegetables. So this shows them how to cut, how to skewer. It's going to be great. And then finally, a cherry crisp. The adults love this recipe, but the children love to make it because we do it in a heart-shaped pan. So we have quite a lot to do today. I'm going to get my apron on and introduce you to Haleigh. All right, everybody, so I am so thrilled to introduce you to Haleigh Newman. And Haleigh, believe it or not, has been with me forever. So tell the story, Haleigh. It's really quite amazing.
I started as a camper when I was 8 years old. So I knew Vera from the time I was 8 until I was 14. She actually wrote my college recommendation letters, which was really fun.
I didn't even remember that.
And then I went to Ole Miss for college, came back. I did Teach for America, so I was a school teacher, and then I came back, worked for Vera for a bit, moved to New York, worked at a law firm for a few years, and now I'm back.
Oh, well, we're so happy to have her back. But she's been involved in so many aspects of the company. Even that period while she was in New York, she would come back and work with us during the golf tournament. So we have this is one of your favorite recipes.
Yes, I love this.
So tell us about this and let's get started.
These are our pink sugar cookie bars that are perfect for Valentine's Day. The first thing we're going to do is cream this butter. We're going to get that nice and loose for about a minute.
All right, and that butter was at room temperature?
Yes,
right? Okay.
That's room temperature butter. We're going to kick it back down to stir, and we're going to add in some granulated sugar.
Oh, and this is salted or unsalted?
Unsalted butter for baking, and then just plain granulated sugar, and we're going to let that go until it's nice and fluffy. I'm going to kick it back up.
Okay.
And that's going to take about 2 minutes.
You know, and when we do the camp with the children, if we have a recipe like this, each child gets to take a minute,
yes,
at the mixer, because generally we have 5 to 6 children per group.
Yes.
And then they each get to have some hands-on with that.
Yeah.
All right.
So our next ingredient is 1 egg and then 1 egg yolk. And that egg yolk kind of makes it extra rich. So that gets nice and combined.
And who would have ever thought that we would be at this point today?
I know.
I mean, she was in the very first year, 2004, that we did camp.
Yes.
And camp will be 22 years old this summer.
Yes.
All right, so now we've got vanilla.
We've got a little bit of vanilla that I'm going to add. And then
okay, so then can I put these 3 things in the flour?
So we have some salt, some baking soda, and some cornstarch. And you're just going to fluff that up with a fork. And then we're going to add that just a little bit at a time.
And you learned all of this in cooking camp, right?
I learned everything I know from you, Vera.
Oh, man.
We're just going to add that a bit at a time so it doesn't make a huge mess, and then it gets all nice and incorporated. Kids love to add things to the mixer, so that's always fun for them. You get to sort of let them take turns and watch it change and explain what's happening.
Exactly, and just like Haleigh has been turning it up and turning it back down, these are things that you don't necessarily read in the recipe, and that's why, I always say, just if there is a mentor in your family, whether it's the mom or the grandmother or coming to cooking camp, these little tips that introduce life to a recipe, like the flour will go everywhere if you dump all of that in at one time and the beater's going around. And if you've not actually been in a kitchen, working with somebody, you wouldn't know that.
And I'll tell you what, if you have a young person, these clear bowls are incredible. You can see so much more. So we're gonna let that just come together like it is. And we're gonna stop. This looks just about ready. Let's get this bowl off the mixer. Okay, so we've got these sides cleaned up, and now we're gonna fold in those sprinkles. And for Valentine's Day, we're using pink and red.
Yes.
Of course. But you can use any color you want. So if you have a team color or anything like that, and we're just folding them in, which is always a great instruction to explain to children.
Well, and I mean, like St. Patrick's Day is coming up, so that could be,
that
could be green.
Green and orange.
Okay, so now this is a 9x9 pan.
9x9.
And one of the other tips that I like to suggest is in a recipe, you can have bake for 8 to 10 minutes. And that gives you a parameter.
Right.
You can look at it at 8 minutes, cook it for 5 minutes longer, and look at it again. And the reason that's written that way is because you do need to look at it. The original recipe for this said an 8-inch or a 9-inch pan. Well, there is a lot of difference.
Yes.
So we do a lot of testing. So we tested this and we feel like the 9-inch is better, and that's what we're gonna give you in our recipes on VeryVera.com.
And the 9-inch gives you about another bar, so.
Oh, well, good.
Good
All right,
deal.
so this is going into a 350-degree oven
300?
for about 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes.
Okay, so when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on those cherry tomato salad skewers. I can't wait. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining me, we are celebrating Valentine's Day, and we love to celebrate that with our children during our cooking camp series. And I'm with Haleigh Newman. She is our Director of Education for that program, and we already have a delicious recipe in the
oven. We've got
oven.
our pink sugar cookie bars.
It smells so good.
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to get healthy.
Yes.
So tell us what we're getting ready to do.
We're making a cherry tomato salad skewer, and you think, oh, well, that's just something you assemble. Wrong. There is so much education that goes into this. The first thing we did is washed our vegetables with Veggie Wash,
Right.
which is a great lesson to get rid of all of those contaminants from the grocery store and from packing. But
And the wax.
And the waxy coating. So we love using that at camp. But we're going to start with this cheese. We're going to slice it about 1/4 inch thick. And this knife I'm using is a lettuce knife. So it's not very sharp, but it's a great tool because, these are tools, not toys. And so
Well, and one of the things that we love to do is look for things that the children can use and start beginning those
Yes.
knife skills when there's no, danger in the kitchen with that.
We've got
Isn't that cute?
I know, we're using this little cookie cutter to get them.
So why did you use the white cheddar today?
I use white cheddar because I think it's a pretty color. But the children in your family, you can use whatever you'd like. Colby Jack would be pretty. A regular cheddar would be pretty. Anything that you prefer. So now we're going to move on to our cucumber slices. So you're just going to slice that up. Get that nice. You're going to do little coins, again, about 1/2 inch thick, maybe a little thicker.
And these are those English cucumbers.
Yes. You could use a larger cucumber if you'd like, but I like the tiny ones. I think they go.
I mean, it goes well with what you're doing.
Yes, and they look better on the skewer. So those are going to go here. And then we're going to move on to our lettuce. And of course, we're using the lettuce knife. And this is a little messy, but you're going to get it about 2 inches chunked up. And remember, that skewer is going to hold that together. So no real
Yeah, okay, I
urgency.
get it
Yeah,
now.
the skewer kind of keeps it nice and tight, but you just want little 2-inch
move 'em over to
chunks. Yeah, little 2-inch chunks.
And the thing is, just any kind of skewer, whether it's all fruit, I mean, they absolutely love it.
They love a little kebab moment for sure. So we're gonna switch over from our lettuce knife for these tomatoes to this tomato knife, which is serrated. This is something that you can do if you have an older camper or if you're an adult. I would not recommend using a non-lettuce knife with a younger child, but if you have an older camper like 14.
Right, and the reason is because this will smush it.
That will smush these tomatoes. And these are really wonderful tomatoes. We're gonna slice them at an angle on the diagonal because when we make our skewer, we're gonna put them as little hearts.
You're gonna love this part. And I really recommend sugar bombs.
Sugar bombs.
Sugar bombs.
Yes.
And they are so sweet. And I've gotten to the point where a lot of times I'll just salt and pepper those, and that's like a vegetable side on the dinner plate.
Yes.
All right, well, let's get skewering.
Let's get skewering. So we're going to take a skewer. And of course, we've got these little heart-shaped skewers that we picked up. You're gonna start with that cherry tomato. You're kind of gonna alternate them so they look like a heart. You just stab it through. And you've got to use a little creative juice there to make it look like a heart, but your children will see the vision. They'll get it. And then I'm gonna go in with my cheese, but of course you can do this in any order you'd like. The one thing to remember is that when you're doing this cucumber, to go skin to skin. You wanna make sure you're getting it skin to skin and not through the center, because then
it weeps and it'll start moving around and won't stick.
Yes.
All right, so quickly, can you tell us a little bit about Saturday camps?
Yes, Saturday camps are these one-day, highly themed events. And so you drop your camper off at 9, you pick them up at 2, and in between them they have made 3 to 4 recipes in the kitchen, 2 crafts in the craft room, and then we come together for this fabulous lunch where we set the table and make it really themed and really creative and really fun.
All right, VeryVeraCamp.com. When we come back from the break, we're going to get started on that cherry crisp. Join us. Welcome back, everybody. So we've got them sugared up.
Yes.
We've got them healthy.
Yes.
And now we're going to get them sugared up again.
Of
but
course.
I really think the parents are going to eat this for sure. All right, so if you're just joining me, I'm with Haleigh Newman. She is our education director for our VeryVera cooking camp. And we are getting ready to make cherry crisp.
Classic cherry crisps. So we've got our oven preheated to 350. We've got these sweet little heart-shaped tins greased up with some baking spray, and I'm gonna start on a crisps. So we're adding to some whole oats, a little bit of flour, all-purpose.
And all of these ingredients came from the fresh market, and those are their actual rolled oats that come in a bag. So it's not the container that you're used to, but it's great for this recipe.
And that's light brown sugar, a little cinnamon, baking powder, and salt. And we're just fluffing that up. We're using light brown sugar today because dark brown sugar has a little more molasses, and we don't necessarily need that extra sweetness in this crisp. So now I'm gonna go in with some unsalted butter. Vera, would you like to spoon that classic cherry pie filling that everyone knows?
Well, and here again, just like we said with the bars, you could use apple pie filling. Whatever the occasion is, you can change your filling.
And whatever your family prefers. This butter I'm just sort of drizzling in and fluffing around until it gets almost like streusely. You may not need all of the butter. It kind of depends on the moisture level in that brown sugar, but it looks like mine today will take the whole amount.
Well, and you know, the other holiday that happens in February that has to do with cherries is George Washington's birthday. And you know, he cut down the cherry tree. So this would be cool to celebrate that as well.
Yes. And something we love to do at camp is anytime we can make it individual so that the child is doing it on their own individually and then consuming the one that they make, we love to do that. So these pans are perfect for that.
And you'll see some of that in presentation today as well as to how we do all of that. Oh, that looks delicious.
I know, and you're just kind of gonna crumble that on top, spread it around.
All right, we'll get that one done, Haleigh, and then I would love for you to share more about our summer camp program.
Of course. So our summer camps, they usually go on for 6 weeks. This year we sold out our pre-beginner, which is our 6 to 7 year olds, so quickly. In less than 48 hours, we added a 7th week. So we've got 2 weeks of those sweet 6 to 7 year olds. So it's a total of 224 campers that come through our door, and we divide them up by age group and also by skill level. So we've got ages 6 to 14, advanced, and then our pre-beginners. And so they come together, they're making 3 to 4 recipes in the kitchen, 1 to 2 crafts in the craft room, and those crafts are invitations for the banquet and centerpieces for the banquet. And of course on Friday, they get to bring a guest to the banquet, a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, an aunt, an uncle, and they serve them in this like fine dining fashion. They're laying down the plates, they're plating the food that they've made in this really wonderful way. and then they serve them and they have a wonderful meal.
Well, and one of the reasons I think it sells out so quickly is, home economics is not even taught in school anymore. And with today's world, with all the extracurricular activities and so much of that, sometimes the dinner table doesn't even get set, which as growing up, ours was set every night.
Yes.
So this is a way for grandparents maybe to introduce something if they're from out of town. A child can come in and join us in the summer for that experience. And even with the Augusta area for that, there is probably 15 to 18 different schools in our area where these children come from.
Yes.
So it's like, well, let's keep going with this. Okay. This also makes an entire pan
Yes.
of this.
So if you didn't
too.
have these, you can make it in a larger pan, like a 9x13 for sure.
And one of the other things about camp is that when it started, the year that you were a camper, and hopefully I didn't come across this way, but the accountant said, you got to figure out a way to make money in the summer in your building. And so because I was a home ec teacher, I thought, well, that's the perfect thing. We could hardly fill it up because people weren't familiar with it. And as Haleigh said now, at year 22 coming up, it fills up immediately. All right, so we're going to get all of this baked, a table set. So come back with us in just a few minutes. We'll give you some more tips about presentation. Welcome back, everybody. And I think we've established that it's the month of love.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, Haleigh, walk us back through what we did today.
Of course. We did these wonderful pink sugar cookie bars with those mountains of pink frosting. Then we've got our cherry tomato salad skewers, and we're serving that with ranch, but if your camper is like a tangy person, you can drizzle that with some balsamic, and that would be so fun and so pretty.
And would look pretty on that platter as
Yes.
well.
Then we've got our cherry crisps, which we love to give as a take home. So every camper always takes something home, and those you can give as a take home because they come with a little lid, or you can use it for leftovers.
And then do the campers do the little labels?
Yeah, that's their morning activity. So they come in and they decorate their little labels, and then we get to use them later.
Well, and this kind of also introduces the entrepreneurial side of camp, is that you can make something like that and sell it,
Yes.
for fundraising or whatever.
And it's a way to say wow. And another fun way to say wow, and a classic at camp, is napkin folding. So we love to have any sort of festive napkin fold, and this one is super easy. You're going to fold your napkin in half and then fold it in half again. Hold your center and fold both of those sides up vertically, and then shape the top by sort of folding those four corners under, and then you have a heart.
Oh, it's such a pretty thing. And one of the things that we do at camp is make sure that they've done all of these fun children things, but they learn about proper table setting and presentation and how to present the food on the plate, which makes this really worthwhile. All right, so talk about
the badges.
the badges.
So every camper that comes to summer camp or a Saturday camp gets one of these bags, and every camp that they attend has its own little button or badge or pin or whatever you want to call it, and they are obsessed with them. And if I forget to give them out, they will let me know, because it's like a contest, so you can get the most.
Well, if you were a Girl Scout or a Brownie, you know exactly why we're doing this. All right, then.
So these are our binders that they get during summer, and we hole punch all the recipes that they get and they put them in there. And then for Saturdays, they get another tab and they can get their own recipe book. And this is a real improvement, because when I was a camper, we got purple folders, and I have all of my purple folders from when I was a camper with all of my recipes still inside them. So now they get more of a keepsake version of that, and they're not hoarding purple folders.
Well, and at the end, they've got something that, because you've referred to yours.
Yes, all the time.
All these years. And we introduced other colors besides just red and pink. The yellow really pops.
And it's those conversation heart colors.
Exactly. So that looks beautiful. So a runner on the table, anything like that,
and
pretty
then
flowers.
These we made as well. These are felt. So that's an easy sort of Valentine's Day craft that you can get your young person to do.
And when you go to look for the recipes, you're going to see the links to some of these things, like the containers. All right, so these beautiful gingerbread cookies that we did not make today, but the recipe will be on our website, are to honor Kat McCall. She did all of the beautiful artwork for Valentine's Day, the cards, and this recipe is actually on the back, and we had never made these before. So we had a lot of fun doing that. I just wanted to honor her in that respect. She was the illustrator for our Occasions cookbook. So, as I always say on the Very Vera Show, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. Haleigh, thank you so much. I'm so glad all of you got to know Haleigh today, and I hope you'll come back and join us again next week.